Welcome to 5 Minutes of Momentum. These episodes are a short 5-minute burst of inspiration, motivation, and massive action. If you need that little kick up the butt to get things moving and to inspire you to take massive action, then every single Thursday I'll be sending you through a 5-minute episode to download, digest, and implement to finish your week off strong. Are you ready to get started? Let's go. Hey, welcome back to 5 Minutes of Momentum. Today I want to do an episode about why some businesses are easy to buy from and why yours might not be. So firstly, I want to talk to you about a couple of different things that often people overlook that prevent people from buying from you in an easy way. The first thing is friction points. We need to look at however we're presenting our offer, how are we creating friction points? The less friction points, the more likely it is that people will buy. So I want you to ask yourself, when you've bought from something recently, what created friction? And you could look at everything from an e-commerce store, if they made it too difficult for you to find the product. So even give you an example, the other day I was scrolling on Instagram and an ad came up for a really great dress that I saw and I was like, oh, I might buy that. So I clicked through and where it took me, the link took me just to the main business page. And then I had to scroll to try and find the dress. And you know what happened? After about 5 scrolls, I couldn't find it and I clicked back to Instagram. If you make it too difficult for people to buy from you, it's more likely that they'll scroll away and just move on, right? So you want to think about how many clicks does it take to actually add it to cart and buy if you're an e-commerce business. It still works the same in service-based businesses. If you're making it too difficult for people to buy from you, then you're more likely to create friction points where people then just don't buy. So you want to look at, once people have made a decision to work with you, how do you make it easy for them to work with you? Do you make it easy for them to book a call with you? Do you require them to fill in a really detailed questionnaire, which takes them way too long and then they click away? Do you make them, actually the other thing I saw the other day was something about a founder's dinner and I had to put in an application and I put in an application. They have not contacted me. It's probably been over a week. I've not heard from them and I've not been added to an email list. So I don't even know anything more about that event, right? Now, I may have some hesitations to then buy from that place because there's been a lack of show up after my initial reach out. So you want to think about where are the friction points in your business that prevents people from being able to buy in an easy way. If you have a digital product, you want to think about how many clicks does it have to go from wherever they're finding you, so social media or your website, clicking through to buying. If there's too many clicks, and I mean 3, if there's more than 3, you're actually asking way too much of them. Which is why I always love to do on websites, so you can do the little bump, so you can have buttons in different parts of the sales page that then bump you down to the buying section so it's easy for them to click buy, great, let's go. So you want to think about that. How are you creating friction points that prevent people from easily buying from you? The second thing is confusing messaging. People buy usually based on a solution or a desire. So if your messaging doesn't speak to either of those, you're more likely creating confusing messaging that doesn't lead to someone making the next step to buy from you. So if you want to make it super easy for people to buy from you, be really clear on what the hell they're actually going to get. So make sure your messaging actually speaks to the outcome of what you create and what you sell versus what's included, right? And I know I've spoken about this on the podcast a lot of the time before, so I won't go into it in too much depth. But you want to think about how is your sales messaging getting to the point and actually communicating this is what you're going to get when you buy this XYZ, okay? If you're not communicating the outcome, the transformation that you deliver, most likely people are not going to buy because they're it's a nice thing to have. Or if the messaging is too confusing, if you're using language that's too fluffy, clarity always supports buying, right? Clarity creates certainty, which then creates someone to be yep, I need that, I want that, I'm ready to buy. So we want to always come back to, is it super clear? Do people know exactly what they're getting? Do they know what the transformation and outcome will be? Do they know how much it's going to be? Great, let's buy. Okay? We want to build that in. Now, the next piece isn't as easy to solve of a problem. The level of trust and authority that it takes now, in order for people to feel certain in their buying decisions, has risen a lot in the last couple of years. Obviously, with AI coming on the scene, it's creating a lot more skepticism. It's creating a lot more hesitation because people are I'll just put it in ChatGPT and get an answer there, right? Whereas if you have built really strong relationships, if you've built trust and authority in your space, then people are more likely going to buy from you. And the people that aren't building trust and authority in their space right now are the ones that are finding it very, very hard to convert. Very hard to convert because what used to work for them was possibly a lot of referrals. some of their referrals have dried up, and so they're finding it really hard to find customers. They might be just starting out in their marketing space and they're like, oh, their messaging is so confusing, or they don't even really know what to create with their marketing. And then maybe they're doing a little bit of networking, but what used to work is no longer working. You used to be able to go to a networking event, meet someone, have a great conversation, and that lead to possibly a sales call, and then they convert, right? There is a bit of a gap in between that now. So people are going to be like, do I really need to invest in this? Is this going to get me the outcome? Have I invested in something like this before? They're often going, can AI just do this for me? Right? Like there's a lot of in between. Now, if you've built a lot of trust and authority, which then communicates your ability to get them a result and the reliability of that result, then they're more likely to buy from you versus like just try and figure it out themselves on AI. So if you're listening to this, there's a couple of things that I want you to look at. I want you to look at your customer journey and go, how does a client go from not knowing me to getting to know me to then buying from me? And how easy and effortless do I make that for them? Where are the friction points in my buying process? Do I make it too difficult for people to actually buy from me? And thirdly, can I clarify my messaging so it's super easy for people to know exactly what they're going to get from me? What solution I'm creating for a problem they're experiencing, or how do I get them to an outcome or transformation? And how clearly am I communicating that? You get those right, and you're most likely to make your business easy to buy from.